Welcome everyone to another edition of our video Cornhole Insider video podcast. Joel here, along with Mr. Al Baghdadi, Al Murphy. How you doing, Al?
Good. How are you?
All right, we're ruthless, is what we are. We're just ruthless, and we got some special stuff. We have, ladies and gentlemen, as the title of this podcast says, we have compiled the top 10 plus players in the state of Minnesota. It wasn't easy, Al. It wasn't easy, but we got I think it was six different people, six or seven. They will stay anonymous. No one except me and one other person, and maybe
not even Al Baghdadi.
Not even Al Baghdadi doesn't know who they are. We wanted to keep it anonymous, so there's no flack or anything like that. But I think the list is pretty good, and we've hit a lot of really good players. So we're going to do that in just a little bit. In a couple of weeks, we're going to do the top 10 players in the state of Wisconsin. So look for that to come in a couple of weeks. And next week's show, I'm very scared for next week's show. I was telling you before we went on, Al, we've got a special guest that I probably shouldn't be on a podcast, really, especially a video podcast, but we'll see how it goes. Let's talk about that ReStoru Classic. Those who are coming or thinking about coming, we've talked, Al, a lot about the $1,000 guaranteed first place for doubles. And now we can officially tell people for singles, we got a really nice number out there for upper singles too, right?
$500 guaranteed first place for the upper division of singles.
Nice. And if people are playing in singles and they're not, maybe they don't think they're good enough to win it, they consider themselves maybe more of a social player in that singles division. Now we're going to split those up right away, aren't we? And kind of let
we're going to do the doubles first on Saturday, and that'll be pool play. And if you go in the upper division of the pool play for doubles, if you end up in the upper bracket, you have to play in the upper division for singles. If you are in the lower division for doubles, you can play in the lower division for singles, or you could choose to play up in the upper bracket if you want to.
Okay. Now for doubles, is that preset, or is everybody going at it together and then we're splitting them? How's the doubles going
to? Everybody's going in. It's going to be split into pools, then we'll divide it into two brackets. Plus, there will also be a social doubles tournament.
Okay. All right.
For people that are not tournament players, just your backyard players, try to get some people out for that.
All right. June 10th, 11th in, I got that right now? I got the dates, numbers right? Friday,
June 10th and 11th.
Friday, June 10th, Saturday, June 11th, Switch Holio Friday
only like 18 days away or something like that.
Yeah. Closer than it feels anyway. And it's a big weekend. We got all kinds of folks helping out sponsor wise and donating stuff to raise money for Children's Miracle Network and our local Little League here, right?
Yep, we have the racket boards that are coming for the raffle. We have bags from Ruthless, Lucky's, Big Daddy, Terry Hansen donated some kill shots, Mad City, I believe they're gladiators that Mad City donated. BG is supposed to be sending some bags, and Windsor bags are supposed to be arriving sometime. So that's what we have so far. Fire Cornhole. I have Fire Cornhole. I think they're getting a set of Coopers.
All right. We'll get some Ruthless bags in there if you didn't mention
Lone Star Cornhole.
Yeah.
I can't remember everybody.
And thanks to all of our sponsors. Before I mention that, I want to mention, because otherwise I'm going to forget, we are giving away next week. We'll give away that set of Game Changer bags, courtesy of Frank Modlin. He was on with us about a month ago. The guy who created the Game Changer bags, and you can check out a previous podcast for that. So comment, subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe, tell your grandma to subscribe, put a comment in the field. Any comment from that show we did with Frank Modlin about a month ago forward, I'm listing, I think I've got 17 or 18 people so far. We're going to give away a set of Game Changers. I think he said a hat and a shirt from all Cornhole and Game Changers. So be sure to put your name in there. It's absolutely free.
You have to comment on the YouTube channel.
Yes, correct. Not on the Facebook post of the YouTube channel. All right.
Yeah, tell us who you want us to bring on as guests. We're always looking for ideas.
Yeah, and hit subscribe. Do us a favor. Early Christmas gift, birthday gift, anniversary gift. Just hit subscribe. It doesn't cost anything. It's just absolutely free. We've had a couple thousand different people watch our videos already, and we're at about 150 or 60 subscribers. How about Steve Schrader and Bob Heil? Their video podcast we did a couple months ago, almost 700 views now. It must be their, well, it can't be their good looks, but what is it?
No,
What is it about those guys? People are really intrigued by that.
I think it's you and me. I think is what it is.
It could be. I think we really did look good in that show. You're right. You're right. There's something special about that. Thanks to all of our sponsors. We're going to mention again at the end, but we've got a special guest joining us now. I consider him kind of a Minnesota. He's an outsider from Minnesota as we present this top 10 list. But
Minnesota outsider is a perfect description.
He's a Minnesota outsider, but he knows the Minnesota players very well because he goes to school at the University of Wisconsin in River Falls. So we want to welcome in. Hang on. I gotta get the right here. We welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, without delay, our Minnesota moderator and kind of the co-host of our Minnesota Top 10. Ladies and gentlemen, here he comes in the screen, Mr. Blake Karnick. How you doing, Blake?
Doing good. How's everyone else doing?
Good.
We're doing good. We didn't say too many bad things about you when you were in the waiting room there, so you're good.
That's just a given. I figured it would happen.
Al, you disappeared. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I was concerned for you there for a second.
I reversed my camera. Wasn't much to see.
So we're going to have a little fun because I don't think anybody's done this. Listed the top 10 players in the state of Wisconsin and the top 10 players in the state of Minnesota. And we'll have a few honorable mentions in there too. It was tough to do, but I reached out to several different players and just different people who play a lot of tournaments in the state of Minnesota and asked them to share their top 10. And I told them I will not reveal to anyone. Only me and Blake know who voted. So don't try to shake down Blake this Saturday, you guys at Tailgaters in North Branch. But we had, I think, 6 people vote, and the list are secret. And Blake, this was tough for the state of Minnesota because there's no ACO or ACL in the state, so no rankings, but a lot of good players too, right, Blake?
There's a bunch of good players, and there's so many that can play at that top level, and there's not any cut and dry top 5, top 10 players. They all can play with each other. They're all ranging, and they can roll, they can airmail, they can push, and it's really tough.
Yeah.
And they play a lot.
They play a lot.
And some of them don't travel a whole lot because they don't have to. First of all, there's so many tournaments. And because there's no ACO, ACL, there's not really a lot of incentive to travel when you got to go a long way. So we're hoping that ACO or ACL gets in that state because I think, well, Blake, we saw there was an ACL regional in South Minneapolis, I think this past winter, and there was like 80 or 90 players there, wasn't there?
Yeah, they got a lot more players than I thought they would. They had some people from South Dakota come over and run it, and they did not have the proper venue for it because they did not think they'd have that much interest in Minnesota. But there's so many top players that they play locally because that's the only competition they need because there's so many good players. But it's only going to keep getting bigger and bigger in Minnesota.
Yeah. Okay, let's dig in to our top 10, and then we have a few that are outside looking in and honorable mention. Now, to enhance this a little bit, we're going to steal something from one of our we're going to give him credit for one of our favorite podcasts, Blake, that we do, the Dan Lebitard Show. I think it's the #1 podcast, in fact, in the world. And we're going to throw in some acronyms here because this is a little bit fun. So I will tell you who the number 10 player is, and we'll talk a little bit about them. And then Blake will have an acronym that will stand for something kind of to describe that player. So we'll have a little fun with it that way. So are we ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. I don't know if I'm ready. I lost my list already. Hang on a second here. Okay. There.
Need help. I got you.
I got it. Okay. So I'm going to type in the number 10 player according to the votes from 6 anonymous sources, and you'll see it. You guys can see the screen, right?
Yep.
All right. Number, you can tell I can't spell it. Kenley Merrill. Number
Henry
10.
Merrill.
I think he won or came close to winning the state singles a couple years ago. I think. Blake, tell me a little bit about Kenley.
He's close every single year. He's always finishing at the top of tournaments. Him and his main partner, Jim Bruce. He's got a solid slide shot, solid airmail. And the ranking index I use for him, the TBSI AOC index. We all know what that means, right, Dad?
What was that again? T who?
The TBSI AOC index. The best smile in all of Cornhole.
He really
He always
does.
lights up a room. He has the whitest teeth. He has the perfect smile, and he makes everyone happy around him.
And he's probably older than most of us. How is he pulling that off?
I don't know, but he's got it going for him.
And a good
So
guy,
I love
too.
I love
Great
playing
guy.
against him and with him. I love playing with Kenley.
Yeah. All right.
I love playing
the
with
first
everyone
time
on
I-
this list.
The first time I seen Kenley play, I believe, was at Ryder Cup in 2019 or 2018, probably 2019. You know, and I thought, you know, this is just some old guy. He can't play cornhole. And at the end of the day, he's in the final 8 of the singles or something like that. You know, it's just
That's what I
Very
still do
good
with a lot
player.
of people. And that's what I still do with a lot of people.
We
And
had
I'm always proven wrong.
me and Kenley had a knockdown drag out match in seniors at the ACO Grand Casino this past
Yep,
season.
I remember live streaming that. That was a really good match.
We had a
You
long
two played
match and I
back
won
and
it
forth.
and went on to be on the main stage. And I think if Kenley had won that one, he would have went on to be on the main stage. So
Yep.
Kenley comes in at number 10. Number 9, we have one of Blake's favorite guys here to play
His
with.
partner, Kenley's partner, Jim Bruce.
Mr. Jim Bruce comes in at number 9, plays in a lot of tournaments, and he can airmail, can he, Blake?
Yes, he is one of the top airmailers in the state. He is the defending state seniors singles champion. So that is his main title. Of course, he earns his top 10 spot. And he also is a top in the ranking index of the NWTFIA BBC.
NWTFIABBC. What does that stand for?
Never want to face him in a bomb box challenge.
All
You
right.
never want to face him. One of the top airmailers. He can, when he's on with his airmails, he ain't missing. So you do not, main strategy against Jim in a game, you do not want to block him because he's going to drain airmails over you day in and day out.
He wants to draw you into that airmail game. All right.
but can you trust a guy with 2 first names?
It's true.
That's true. That is true. That's kind of a power move too. He's got a good name.
I think I only played against Jim once at Split Rock last year. I think we played him in doubles, and I saw real good, real firsthand. Excuse me, how good he can be. So Jim, number 9, number 8. Here we go. Is going to be Sambo. All right. Could very easily be higher than that, I think, with some of the recent stuff that he's done. But tell you what, he has developed into a tough out in any singles event he participates in, right, Blake?
He's been catching fire recently. He's always at the top of pretty much every singles and doubles event. He won the Ryder Cup singles this past tournament. He's just been catching fire recently. Ranking index I used for him was the BTS AIMC, the best 2-sport athlete in Minnesota Cornhole, along with being a cornhole player. He's a top fisherman as well. Him and his partner, who is also on this list, I believe, are the fishermen. They're top fishermen. They're always posting when they get fish. So that's a big skill. You got to be able to be an athletic person in multiple events.
Well, Al, I think next year for the ReStoru, or even this year, they come over a day early. We get them out on a boat, right?
We could do that. We could make it
Yeah,
happen.
they'd definitely be down for it. I know they would.
Butternut Lake with Sambo would be awesome. Find somebody with a pontoon. I think we could make that. I think Sambo and Dusty Balls, Dustin Bebo in a boat fishing
Oh, Lord.
could be some memorable stuff.
That couldn't be any more of a polar opposite personality wise in that boat, Dustin and Sambo. But that'd be entertaining. I want a camera on that.
All right, Sambo, great guy. All right, so let's go number 7 on the list of our top 10 players in the state of Minnesota, as compiled by 6 random people who contributed. One half of them executioners.
The best name in
Juan-
cornhole.
Yeah. Juan Marino.
Juan Marino. One half of the executioners. I believe you smelt his name wrong there, by the way. It's M-O. I don't want anyone yelling at us if you get
All
the
right,
spell
sorry.
wrong. So
Sorry, Juan. All right.
Juan has been doing it for as long as I've been playing cornhole. He's been the top guy to play against in singles and doubles, him and Chico. And I have him at the top of the ranking index in BPS. BPS is the best push shot. He
Yeah,
pulls off some shots in games where you think like, oh, I got him for 3 or 4 points here. He's got a bag off, and all of a sudden he drags his bag in somehow around yours, and he gets a wash or he gets a point out of it. And you're just like, how the heck did he do that?
yeah, he's a tough player, and I mean, he's a tough out in singles, and him and Chico together in doubles obviously are when they're on, they're as good as anybody in not only Minnesota but Midwest and even the country. We've seen them do. We got to play against them in Cedar Rapids, I think, in like the 3rd or 4th place game. I think we beat them because I think they were really tired. They were just ready to go to sleep.
They were waiting for like 3 hours before that game. But yeah, those two, the Executioners Minnesota tailgate that Juan and Chico run, those are the most iconic names in all of Minnesota cornhole, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
I think
All
it's one
right.
of the best team names in all of cornhole.
Yeah, that's such a good name. That's
Yeah.
such a good name.
Executioners for doubles and Al Baghdadi for singles. You can't get much better than that,
That's
ladies
up
and
there,
gentlemen.
too.
All right. All right. Number 6 on our list of the top 10 players in the state of Minnesota, Mr. Andrew Cox. He really, in the last year, Blake, has done some, he's won so many tournaments, and he did well at state, and just a solid player.
He's just so consistent. And one thing about his game that's kind of unique from others, he plays so fast when I play against him. I like to kind of slow it down and play at my own pace. Every time I throw it, it's within a second. He just chucks his bag, drains an airmail, just slides it in. He plays so fast, puts pressure on you. And ranking index I used for him was the MFSOHIAOC, my favorite sense of humor in all of cornhole. Every time at a tournament, sober or drunk, he just makes me laugh and always loosens me up whenever he talks to me. I don't know if he does it intentionally, but I just love being around Andrew. He's a fun guy.
We were at the Ryder Cup, and he comes up to me midday and sits down, and he just says, "So how you doing?" And I said, "Singles it was." I said, "Well, I'm out." And he looks at me and he's like, "You were my favorite. On the way here, I told everybody, Joel's the guy. Joel's the one. What happened?" And he was dumbfounded that I was out in the tournament, just genuine. Yeah, he's a lot of fun. Just a lot of fun.
And then a minute later, he asked me how I'm doing. I said, "I'm still going." He's like, "Let's go. You're my betting favorite. Keep it up. Let's go." I'm like, wait a minute.
I think we need to consider Andrew as friend of the show now.
Yes. Yes. We'll take it. We'll take anybody who wants to be.
And he will be at the ReStoru.
He will be at the ReStoru. I was just thinking of that. So Andrew will be there. So that's going to be a blast. We look forward to having all that Minnesota crew over.
The hopes of Minnesota are riding on his shoulders so far.
Yeah. All right. Our top 10 Minnesota players compiled from a list of 6 different people who voted, and we took them all listed together. Once we finish the top 10, we'll have a list of honorable mention. Our outside looking in. And number 5, here we go. We're going to get the other half of the Executioners, Chico. And again, his game, I think, in the last year or two has just gone up and up, Blake. And when you play him in singles, he's a really good singles player.
He's such a good player. He's always consistent. You're never going to catch him on a really off game in singles. He's always finishing at the top. Him and Juan, probably the most iconic doubles team in Minnesota, like we said. And my ranking index for him is the BIGA, the best in-game air mailer. Every time I play him in games, he just makes some air mails, and I'm like, he just sneaks bags in. I don't know how he does it, but he's just the most consistent air mailer I've seen in Minnesota. I like playing against him too. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he's the bomb. He's the bomb box guy too for that crew. All right,
Yeah.
Chico comes in at number 5. All right, number 4 in our top 10 players in the state of Minnesota, Visna. The loudmouth, Visna. He just can't shut him up.
Second half of the Fisherman, him and Sambo. Visna partners up with Sambo. Chris Evans also. He's just always consistent right down the middle with those Vipers. He's going to slide you to death. And the SBD ranking I use for him. Silent but deadly.
Silent but deadly.
That's accurate there.
Visna's such a nice guy. And again, when we were at Ryder Cup, we were playing that 8-man. And I was on one end with Visna. Chris Evans was on the other end, so we could hear each other. But Visna was on our end, and Visna, he doesn't say a thing. But Dustin Bebo, Dusty Balls from our group up here, who likes to have a few Budweisers when he plays, he throws a bag. He throws his one bag, and he goes, no, and it goes in the hole. And Visna looks at him, and he says, take it out. Take it out of the hole. And then they reciprocated the other way. So that's why we got it. I think getting maybe Visna on that boat with Sam Bowl, a little fishing here in northern Wisconsin, get the fishermen up here. That would be great.
That game was the most I've ever heard Visna talk, because when he would make a shot, he'd be like, no, every time he would shoot it too. That's the most I've ever heard him talk in a game ever.
Great guy, great player, but he is so consistently in the hole. And just when you think you can, block him because he puts it in the hole all the time, then like his partner, he'll start airmailing on you too.
All day. Visna is such a good player, such a tough out in any tournament he's in.
Yep. We get to these final five, and really the top five all are interchangeable, and many of these are, but
these top 10 are interchangeable.
They really are. All right, so number 3 for the state of Minnesota is going to be our lone female in the whole thing. It's going to be Lexi Hugebeck. Of course, she has quickly elevated to probably the best women's player in the state and one of the best players overall with those sticky bags. She throws a hard bag, especially for a gal.
Yeah, she's the only carpet thrower on this list. She'll block and relay to death. I've played with her a few times, and she is it's tough to score on people that play like she does. She's so tough to play against. The ranking index I used for her was the BRBIM, the best roll bag in Minnesota.
Yep, she does. She's a lot of fun to watch, and she throws that hard spinning bag that you just don't see. You don't see many female players throw that type of bag. No. She really throws a strong, hard bag.
She's the epitome of the new youthful wave of cornhole with the block and the rolls and the cuts. She's definitely taken those new strategies into the whole new level in Minnesota.
Yep. All right. We're down to the final 2 here. Then we got some outside looking in and honorable mentions also. So the number 2 player right now in the state of Minnesota is going to go to, if I can type, I think I got his last name spelled right, is Patrick, a guy who came to light in the Minnesota State Championships and doesn't get a chance to play a lot of tournaments, but he has quickly caught everybody's attention, Blake.
Yeah, the defending state singles champion. I believe that's not the first time he's won that either. He might have won that the year or two before, but he always shows up at that state tournament and he takes care of business. And ranking index I used for him was the SUWIMM, showing up when it matters most.
Very good. Very good. So Patrick, I have not had a chance, I don't think, to play against Patrick.
I was going to say I haven't seen him play, but I think he was at Turtle Lake either the first year or the second year that they had it. I do believe I did see him play there.
All right. Hopefully we'll see more of Patrick down the line. All right. So according to our crack list, now people look at this list, a lot of people are probably thinking right now, they know who the number 1 guy is, because you can't really deny the fact that this guy has been playing just as good as anybody else. When he shows up at a tournament, I've never seen him have a bad tournament. He has a couple of bad bags here and there, but he's become so consistent, Blake.
His bad finish is a top 5 usually at any state tournament. He's always finishing the top, at whether it's state, the Ryder Cup, any ACL regional he goes to, or South Dakota. He's always finishing near the top, and everybody loves being around him too. I probably use the longest ranking index for Chris Evans.
Okay, like this is going to be a good one. All right, Chris Evans ranking index. All right.
The YLWHYPBHWYPAH. Everybody knows what that stands for.
Of course, sure.
You love when he's your partner, but hate when you're playing against him.
That's very true.
And another short one I used for him was the LAP, loud and proud.
That's right.
Now he's going to have to get a new hat after this ranking.
With all those letters. Or just a number 1 on it.
I'm sure he'll let everyone know in that area that he was ranked number 1 in the Cornhole Insider rankings.
I believe I remember it may have been back in October or November when they had the ACL Open West Dundee, Illinois, that Chris went down there and he made a pretty good run in the singles in that. I think he did, if I remember correctly.
But Blake and I we've seen a lot of real good players this past year going to Vegas and going all over to ACO majors and other events. And as far as consistency, strategy, cleaning up bags with a fourth bag, Blake, I can say that Chris is as good as anybody that we've seen, right?
Chris is as good as anyone. He can, like you said, he can just clean up around. He can do damage control. He'll make it count when you're struggling a little bit. He can finish a game just like that. He's a top guy skill wise and a top guy personality wise.
I would say the only thing missing from his game is confidence.
Yeah, right. He might need just a little more of that, and I'm sure this will help it a little bit.
We're gonna work on get him on the Wolf's Den team next year for the Ryder Cup, because I'm pretty sure he howled more than we did. Every time the Wolf's Den team, our Ryder Cup team, would win or have a four bagger, we'd all howl, and we'd hear Chris Evans on the other end of the arena. He would be howling at the top of his lungs too. Brings a lot of joy wherever he is. So
He's
outside, yeah, outside looking in. Now these are people that were just on the outside, got at least a couple of votes, 2 or 3. So we'll list a few of them here. Of course, kind of Minnesota royalty here. I think first couple, Jim Cooper. I think not only, of course, makes cornhole equipment and stuff, Blake, but pretty darn good player too.
He's such a good player. He'll slide an air melee to death like a lot of these people, and he's always in a happy, good mood when you're playing against him. I love when I'm playing against Jim.
And again, he was a guy that I saw at my very first major in Grand Casino, I don't know, 3-4 years ago in ACO, and he lit me up like a Christmas tree. I mean,
we played against him and his son, Lucas Cooper, and we played against them in doubles. That was our first kind of awakening to a really elite team. And you're like, oh, there's levels to this we don't know.
Yeah. So
that was the first name that came to mind for me that wasn't on the top 10 list, was Jim Cooper.
Yep. All right. So others, speaking of royalty, if Jim's the king, this lady, I think, is probably the queen of cornhole in Minnesota, promoting the sport. And whenever you see her, she's got a hug for you. And you know what? With all that said, she's a really solid player too when it comes to playing the game, Blake.
Yeah, we were just playing against her, I think last week or 2 weeks ago in Minnesota, and we probably threw 10 rounds, and I think she put 6 or 7 4-baggers on me. And I was just like, where'd that come from? But she's been doing it for as long as anyone. I know our first ACO major, like 3-4 years ago, my first singles game, and I was like, all right, let's go. I'm going to make a good run. I played against April my first game. She skunked me 21-0.
That was Grand Casino too.
That was great. I was like, what the heck just happened? But she's one of the first names I've known in cornhole, and I love playing with her.
Yep, exactly. All right. So others outside looking in that just didn't quite make the top 10, but are right there. Mason Erke, I think I got his last name right.
IHRKE.
Okay. All right. Sorry, Mason.
Close enough. But
one of those younger players, Blake, who plays that roll game, right?
Yeah, he's got a nice roll bag. He's got a nice cut bag. I always see him and his brother Landon throwing surefires together, and they're one of the best doubles teams in Minnesota too. They're always making good runs together, and they have probably one of the biggest upsides in Minnesota to only get better and better.
Yeah, I think we played them. Was that at I don't know where that was. I think we played them, and you just kind of hope that they're not totally on, because if they are, you said that upside is just huge. It's hard to beat them when they're at the top of their game.
I played them both at the Ryder Cup singles, both Mason and Landon through the losers bracket, and we both had really tough games against each other, against Mason and Landon, but I love playing against them. They're good guys.
Well, another one outside looking in, I think that if we do this list next year, I think he's probably going to be in that top 10, is another guy who likes to throw those carpet bags and do some rolling, is Hayden Ferguson. His game's getting better and better every month.
Even just in the past year, I remember playing against him a year ago, but he's gotten so much better. You see, he's been posting his TikToks recently of him rolling over 12, 14, 16 bags, but him and those BG Vikings, there's a lot of bright opportunities for Hayden in the future.
Yeah, exactly. And another one that has really come on the scene here outside looking in is Soka. He has really taken up his game, and I know some doubles. He's done very well in doubles recently too, and he's again gotten just really good.
Yeah, I've played with Soka as his partner a few times, and I think he's taken more money away from me than we've won at tournaments together. He always challenged me to bomb box and cash games, but I love playing against Soka, but I can't seem to ever beat him in anything I play him against. But I love Soka.
And our final one outside looking in, and we got a few honorable mentions, so don't go away, is Gus Redeman. I think I got his last name right.
Yep.
And he won singles at, I lose track. Was it Ryder
He
Cup
plays
last
top.
year?
He plays top 3 at singles and Ryder Cup. I should mention also Hayden Ferguson was the state juniors champion this past year. Also, I
Yeah.
forgot to mention
And
that.
Gus, another one of those young players who just is, he's going to be, he's going to get really good.
Gus
Continue
is
to
right
get
there.
better.
He's been playing a lot of ACL events. I know he's won conference events. He's right there in regionals too. He's been going to some ACL opens, and between him and Lexi and Hayden, the youth of Minnesota is really strong. So he's such a solid player. I like playing against Gus. He's got one of those roll bags too, but he's really good.
And our honorable mention, ones that received some votes, $5, Jason Hendrickson. And again, he's a guy that gets his name because you've played him multiple
He likes
times.
to take my money too. He likes to take my money too. Him and Soka like to take my money.
Between Soka and $5, how do you afford to pay for college?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to start taking out some loans. I'm gonna have to talk about my mom. Talk to my mom about that.
Another honorable mention, Dustin Gerards, and Hunter Thorson, another young guy, Eric Grunsky, and Bob Templin, all solid players that have the ability at any point to put a licking on you, Blake.
Yeah, for sure. Hunter's one of those juniors too, where he's only been getting better and better. I've been seeing him in a lot of other tournaments. Another honorable mention I got to mention is Eddie Schmidt, Eddie's Cornhole reviews, because I know if I didn't put him in here, he'd be like, for how many times I beat you, I better be on this list somewhere. So gotta give a
think
shout out to Eddie.
Eddie's a guy that may be in that top 10 next year.
Eddie's only been playing for like 6-7 months. He was telling me right when he started, he created his YouTube page, and he's only been getting better and better with those black sheep. He loves those Costellos. So go check out his YouTube page also.
Eddie's bag reviews. Yeah. And Eddie, give us a plug. All right. All right. That's all I ask.
I think he'll be doing a lot for us too. So
He's going to be at the ReStoru Classic with his new 4-camera system that he tested out at Tailgaters a couple of weeks ago. And we're going to have a real nice stream from that event in Park Falls. All right.
Just like the ACL live stream, he has those 2-camera setups. He has replays. He switches the focus back and forth. So it's really high tech stuff that he's been doing.
Exactly. So there you go, folks. I'm sure we missed a couple. I'm sure there's maybe people that are really good throwers, Al, that maybe they just don't make it to a lot of tournaments. You know, people get to those points in their lives where they got family and kids and, you know, things like getting married and graduating high school going on. But we know there's a lot of other really good players. So to those, Blake, we say for next year's list, what do we say?
Prove me wrong.
Prove me wrong. That's right. That's right. We show up at a tournament, catch the eye, and get out there and play, and you know, prove us wrong. There's no cash money with this list. Andrew Cox, I know he'll be asking me, you know, what do I get for 5th or 6th or whatever. So there's no cash with that. Maybe just a little recognition. So Blake, thank you so much for all the insider information. You go to UW River Falls, so you're right there on the border. You play with a lot of these guys. And you'll be a contributing factor in a couple of weeks when we do our top 10 Wisconsin list, also coming up in a couple of weeks. So thank you. Thank you, Blake.
Thanks, Blake.
No problem.
All right, we're gonna let Blake go. And Al, final plug here for the ReStoru You event, June 10th, 11th, Park Falls, Wisconsin. Hotel within walking distance. There's cheap beer. There's great food. There's Friday night. Switch Holio, Saturday singles, doubles. I mean, this is not only a big event, numbers wise, money wise, it's all there, right?
Everything's there. Hopefully we raise a lot of money to give to our charities. 50-50 raffles, bag raffles, some games going on. The Essential Shooting Supply Long Shot, the Northwoods Realty Bomb Box.
Yeah.
Park Falls Ice Arena is where it's at.
Eddie's bag reviews live stream. And if you got a nice set of bags, maybe you don't throw anymore, bring it with. We'll include it in one of the raffles in there as long as it's it's got a couple more in the hole shots left in it. We'll throw it in one of the raffles.
More the better.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, next week, I'm really scared for next week's show, to be honest with you. We're going to try to talk ACO. They have a lot going on here in our area. They've got an event coming up in Oshkosh in June. They've got one in Green Bay coming up in August, the Heroes event, which gives an opportunity for vets and EMT and those type of people who have a history of serving or EMTs. They have a special incentive for that. And also the Field of Dreams one in Iowa. The ACO is really kind of focusing in, Al, on the Midwest, because I think they see that there's not a whole lot going on as far as, the other group. And there's an opportunity for a lot of players, Minnesota, Wisconsin, to really play in tournaments with some really good players close to home.
Yeah. They're trying to make some inroads here.
Yeah. So it should be a lot of fun. Now, coming up this weekend, this Memorial weekend, I don't know what there is real close here to northern Wisconsin. My son and I are going to Tailgaters Saturday. We're going to go down to Bratfest and introduce ourselves to the Washes down there and be a part of that tournament down there on Sunday. So we're looking forward to that. And then June, of course, a couple weeks removed, we got the one here in Park Falls. Oshkosh one is June 17th. Rhinelander the 26th, I believe. Al, is that what that was?
Yep.
Woodpeckers.
Is it the 25th or 26th?
Yeah.
One of those 2 days.
Yeah, you do a good job of putting all those events on the Northern Wisconsin Cornhole Facebook page, not only ones that are in Northern Wisconsin, but all around. If you guys got a cornhole tournament, post it on our page, and Al, I don't know how you do that, but you hit a button and it goes on the events calendar, right?
Sure.
Sure. All right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. Please hit subscribe. We'd appreciate that very much.
Hey, what are you doing here?
Wait, what are you doing here? Hey, you look a bit ruthless. Thanks to Ruthless Bags for sponsoring my son and I. And Al, thank you for being a part of the show. We'll talk to everybody again next week.
All right. See you, Joel.
You bet, Al.